Now, I say he was my business mentor. I've actually never spoken a single word to him, but I listened to his podcast so heavily on repeat, and it was always in my ear, and I would study, everything he would say, and the books he would recommend, I would go read those books. And he was kind of the one that made me realize, like, entrepreneur. I didn't even know what the fuck entrepreneurship was. Like, I heard the word before. Like, I'm like, is that a I used to think like entrepreneur is like a conquistador, like a
Mexican fighter.
Yeah, like a Mexican traveler. Like, I don't even know what the fuck. I genuinely, this is at 18, guys. Like, this is so okay. So keep this in mind, guys. This is at 18. A lot of you guys are 18 and you're already like, you have basic business knowledge. You understand how to, transact on a, and I don't even know what the word means, and I'm 18 years old,
So just to be fair, in our time, so like he's 28, I'm 30, right? So like when we were in high school, college age, it wasn't as cool yet. No. It was becoming like, oh, whoa, like, but like, if anything, it was a little bit more of like you were made fun of for it, or, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like we didn't even know it. You didn't even know what that meant. And like, I wouldn't have known had I not met my mentors. Like I wouldn't have known. So I think nowadays a lot of 18-year-olds are running around like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a coach, all these things. It's like, but it's becoming like a fun, not fun, like it's becoming like a hot topic, like a thing that
100%. And really getting back into, practically like how to start a business here, guys, like, business ownership is hard, right? But I agree with what you're saying. There is kind of this trend nowadays where people, they call themselves entrepreneur, or whether they are or aren't. That's not really for me to decide. It's more like I'm learning that people, they realize and recognize the fact that really to start a business, to start one, and really to, it's a very low barrier to entry, right? We were just talking about this before, specifically our businesses, right? I'm an online coach. My overhead is software, my overhead is, a couple apps, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really have business overhead, and my employees, right? Like, that's my overhead, but my margins are very high, and also this business is very low barrier to entry. So keep that in mind, guys. Like, I didn't go start a landscaping company. Not saying you can't and be massively successful, but you guys have to realize that, like, number one, what's number one to starting a business? It's knowing what you're good at. It's having skills.
Well, knowing what you're good at, I think also just being self-aware enough to know, like, this is not for everybody. Yeah. Just knowing that, like, just being aware, like, I would look at entrepreneurship and business as like review it and like ask questions, ask people that are already ahead of you, and just see if this is something that you want to do. Because this is not for everybody, and that's okay. We're not better or anything. It's just it's a path that we took, that we know we're created for. So I would say once you kind of figure that out and you're self-aware and you know that this is for you, then you have to have the skill and something that you can sell, 100%. Whether it be your service or your product. It has to be good, and you have to be good at it.
Yeah, that's another thing too, guys. Like, I think that's such a good point that you're saying here, because there's a lot of people that are skilled as fuck but poor because they don't know how to sell. And
but they can also utilize, like, being a number one in a company isn't for everyone, you could be a really amazing number two.
And you're 100% right. And Pablo, yes. And at the same time, even if you're in a organization, you're still selling yourself in the interview. You get what I'm saying? And this is where I think the cross between, I'm sure you guys have, your parents, or maybe they're academically successful, or maybe they're not, but I'm sure you've maybe heard of or met some people, they have the diplomas on the wall and all this shit, but like, they're not actually successful. Like, they're not actually financially successful. And you guys have to understand that, like, and we'll say part two is here of, is knowing what you're good at, having skills, but really knowing how to sell. And I think people don't understand what the word sales, they fundamentally don't understand what it means. And I didn't understand what it means until I actually learned and then experienced it for myself. You know what I mean? I mean, guys, I do sales, every day in my company. I've closed literally thousands of fucking sales calls at this point for literally thousands of dollars a piece. So keep that in mind. Like, I used to suck at sales. Like, I literally I could not sell a fucking GNC supplement when I worked at GNC. You know what I'm saying? But what I realized was I wasn't really promoting something or offering something that was valuable in my opinion. Do you get what I'm saying? Like if I'm selling pipe fitting or plumbing, I don't give a fuck about, you know what I'm saying, or roofing. I don't have a roof, you know, like I don't own this house, you know, so like you guys have to understand that like practically you're going to be able to sell something that you actually believe in. So keep that in mind. Like whether you start a business or whether you wholeheartedly believe in solar and you think it's the future, that's going to actually help you be able to close more deals when you're out there door knocking or whatever, right? I mean, dude, even if you work the most, you know, basic job, if you want to get a $2 raise, guess what you have to do? You have to sell your manager on the fact that you deserve $2 more than what you're getting paid for. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, I mean, I just want to say, I feel like good sales shouldn't be salesy. No. I feel like sales is sharing a genuine thing that can help someone, and then they can say yes or no. I've actually heard it put almost like some of the best salesmen in the world are waitresses offering you coffee. Because when you are sitting at a diner or whatever, a restaurant, and they say, hey, you want some more coffee? They're offering to you if you want coffee. The answer back is not emotion. There's no emotion attached to the answer. It's either just yes or no. Meaning like when you have something and you know that it's good and you know that you're good at it, realize that like not everybody is going to be your customer, but you have something for everyone, but you don't need everyone.
100%.
Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, and that helps looking at this instead of this like massive like, oh my God, I've started a business. Like I work a manual labor job. Like how am I going to start a business? Like what? Taxes, accounting, marketing, sales, fucking operations, fulfillment. Like what? Oh my God, it seems like so much, but you don't focus on all of that at once. Get what I'm saying? You focus on what you need to focus that day. You get what I'm saying? And the reason I'm saying that is, you know, I like that you said that before. What did you just say before? Something about?
Just about like sales shouldn't be salesy. And then obviously you have something to offer people. But the thing too, like also just to that point real fast is like, I think people get so hung up in the beginning. So, okay, step one, you have your skill, your product, like, you know, it's good. You're ready to, you know, to sell it. I think people get hung up on needing customers at the beginning. I remember that feeling. And even moments to this day where I feel like I need, because I got to pay my bills, I got to do my stuff, you know, like you kind of need people. And then eventually you have enough that you get past the need. Yes. Because people can feel, when you sell something and you need them to buy it, they can feel it, whether they realize it or not. 100%. And I don't think sales should be about that you needing them. No. Sales is you having an offer and you don't need them. Yeah. You would like them, of course, but you don't need them. And I think 100%. When you come from a need and like that, almost like a begging.
Like a desperation.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can feel you when you're on your knees desperate for it.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's like, you shouldn't, I think sales should be almost offered from a standing, confident position.
Yes, absolutely.
I have something to give you.
Yes.
You can take it, but you don't have to.
100%. And kind of continuing off with that, you know, and, you know, with the sales thing, it's now, this doesn't mean by any means, this doesn't mean, and Pablo is not saying this, to be passive, right? Like if Pablo does, I'm going to speak for you here. Pablo does a lot of in-person like meetings, right? Like if Pablo is going to sell someone before social media, because he just started like really on social media last year, like ended last year.
Barely.
Or like the beginning of this year.
Probably 6 months. It's honestly been.
If someone says no, they don't need someone to come in to do content, you're not immediately going to say, oh, okay, cool, let me know when you do. You're probably going to ask them like, oh, okay, like, well, what's your goal with the business?
Well, often people don't know what they're saying. They don't know what they're saying no to.
100%.
So you just have to help them 100%. Make sure that it's a no. Yeah. So you're not desperate, back to that, but you are like, you funnel people. 100%. And then you I would say it's almost like sorting. Yeah. You sort through people. 100%. So yes, back to your point, I'll let you finish, but yeah, it's like you make sure you get a confident no out of someone. A lot of people don't know what they're saying no to.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of thing with sales is like, guys, like notice how the first thing we started with was, what are you good at? Like you have to understand that if you're skilled at something, you're going to feel, if someone says, hey, can you help me with this? If you know cars in and out, and someone's like, hey bro, you know, can you tell me how to fix this piece on my car, blah blah blah, you'd be like, yeah man, call me, like I'll tell you exactly how to do it. I'll tell you all the tools you need, right? You're confident in your ability to be able to get the job done. Get what I'm saying? So when someone approaches you, like, you have to realize, like, I get the messages, guys. I know a lot of you young guys, you see the content, you see my content, you see other people's content, you see, you know, we're making money and all this shit. And guys, it literally starts with being good at something. I think that there's too many people expecting to just start a business, and they're confused at what actually goes into business. So really quick, I want to switch gears. I want to take a more practical approach here, guys. And I want to actually explain to you like how step by step, based off the knowledge that we just explained with having a product and having a service, understanding sales and the importance of it, how do you actually then turn that into a profitable business?